But we begin this morning as all eyes are on the handful of potential running mates for Vice President Kamala Harris. In the weeks since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race, speculation has swarmed around the odds Governor Andy Beshear could be tapped for VP. Several national outlets report Beshear is being vetted for the position, but when asked about it this week, Beshear was tight-lipped.
I am honored to be considered, and regardless of what comes next, I'll do everything I can between now and Election Day to elect Kamala Harris as the next President of the United States of America. You all know what question that is in response to, and that is my full statement on that topic.
And when pressed about if he is being vetted for the job, Beshear mentioned this statement was all he was, quote, authorized to say. Representative Aull, we'll let you start the conversation here. You actually tweeted a little earlier in the week that you support Beshear as vice president. Why so?
Well, I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, you look at the record of accomplishment Governor Beshear has brought to this state over the last almost 5 years. You know, a poll came out just this week that said he's the second most popular governor in the country. And he's so popular because he has worked in a bipartisan manner across the aisle, leading us through multiple natural disasters. Talk about the horrific flooding in eastern Kentucky, the severe devastating tornadoes in western Kentucky. His time as governor has been hallmarked by all of this destruction and devastation, and despite that, he's led us through some of the most economic, prosperous, positive times in our Commonwealth. Record unemployment, record private sector job growth. That's why he's so popular, because he has led us through this together. His tagline, "We will get through this together," and he has led us through that. So I think that he makes an excellent running mate for Kamala Harris.
Representative Bray, I imagine that Republicans in the state might see this a bit differently.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you look at his accomplishments, it's all been because of the Republican supermajority. You know, the economic growth we're seeing is because of actions that were taken back in 2017 when Republicans took control. You know, if you look at the money that we've left in the taxpayer's pocket through income tax reduction, something that the governor had vetoed to begin with, I mean, all of these things, the leadership provided by the Republican supermajority is one reason he's so popular statewide. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me from Vice President Harris's standpoint of why she would look at President Beshear. He's
Governor Beshear.
Yeah, so
I like that you're already giving him the title there.
Yeah, Governor Beshear, because you know he's a governor that won in a red state, but it was a super low turnout election. You know, his dad was governor before him. We've had all of this popular legislation passed by the Republican supermajority, and I don't know what he really brings to the table when you compare him to Senator Mark Kelly out of Arizona, Governor Cooper out of North Carolina, or Governor Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, battleground states. I mean, Kentucky's not in danger of going blue. This is a state that Trump won with 62% of the vote in 2020. So Kentucky's not up in the air. At the end of the day, this is a Republican state, and I don't think that Governor Beshear brings anything politically to the table outside of the Commonwealth.
Well, I would say it's not always all about politics. You know, we can talk about swing states and what helps the ticket win and not helps the ticket win. The most important job of the vice president is to be ready to lead in case something unforeseen and unimaginable were to happen to the president. That is the only job of the vice president. And so when you think about it through that lens, Governor Beshear is absolutely ready to do that. He's done that. He's been a leader, he's been an executive at the state level very, very effectively for the last 5 years. That's why he's the second most popular governor in the country. Yes, has the Republican supermajority passed several pieces of legislation? Yes. But the governor has signed 600 and some odd bipartisan pieces of legislation. He didn't have to sign those into law if he didn't agree with them. So saying that the Republican supermajority is the reason the governor is popular is just disingenuous. He's popular because the people believe him. They have seen him. Every time there's something that happens in their communities, he is there. Whether it was with the COVID pandemic or the natural disasters, people believe in his leadership. That's why he's so popular. And his leadership is what makes him an excellent candidate to be vice president.
We have a little less than 1 minute left here. Referring to the morning consult poll that Representative Aull is mentioning, does it stand out to you, or what do you make of the points that were in that poll saying that Beshear was the most popular Democrat governor among both Republicans and moderates?
Like I said, I mean, it's all about policy at the end of the day. Our voters back home, they think with their checkbook. That's why they're so concerned about inflation right now. That's why they're appreciative of the income tax reduction that the Republican supermajority has given. The economic growth that he takes credit for, the budget surpluses that he takes credit for, the pandemic the relief that he takes credit for, the flood relief, all of this stuff he takes credit for were policies implemented by the Republican legislature.
All right.